Hello, beautiful people. It's a girl Gine and it's Gine Signatures. I welcome you to my channel. So today I'll be making this side ruched gown. It's very beautiful. Even though the one I made was not as long as this, but this was what my client sent to me because the fabric could not go for the long length. But it's all the same process. The only difference is the length. So as you saw on the model, this is what I replicated. So and this came out very nice. I made use of 2 yards of fabric. So if this is what you're interested in, please sit back, relax, and let's go over to cutting off this beautiful piece. So the main emphasis is going to be on the top. I'm not showing you the trouser part because I already have several tutorials on how to go about sewing this palazzo trouser. So I'm not going to be showing you anything pertaining to that. So I'll just be showing you how to go about this beautiful top detailed. So if you're a beginner, you do well to sit back, relax, and enjoy this tutorial because it's going to be quite detailed. So without wasting further ado, I'll be going over to cutting off this beautiful piece very, very shortly. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you to all my amazing subscribers all over the world. I really appreciate every one of you. So this is the fabric I'll be making use of, and it's going to be 2 yards of fabric, and the length is by 60. So the length is quite long, so that's why I could make use of 2 yards of fabric, because if it was 4 to 5 inches by length, I wouldn't have been able to make use of that. Yeah. So now I just want to show you how I'm going to be folding this fabric, because folding it like this now, you won't be able to see it very well. So I'll make use of this paper. So that long part is the yardage, and then the other side is the length. So you just fold like this and make sure that the upper part is open like this, and then the side facing you is going to be closed up like that, and then the opposite sides are going to be open. So that's exactly how I'll be folding my fabric and then place it on the table. So this is what we have. So exactly the way I folded the paper is what I have on the table as of now. So do well to do yours as well. So I'm just trying to arrange this fabric because this fabric is a very shaky fabric. I won't advise beginners to use this fabric because it's very, very, very stubborn fabric, if you understand what I mean. It's slippery, it's silky, though it's very, very beautiful for the design, but I would advise you go for crepe or any other fabric of your choice, except this lightweight fabric, because you're going to be running into a whole lot of problems. So now I'll do well to get the length of my gown. So for the length, I'm going to be making use of the entire length of what I have on the table. So whatever you have or whatever desired length you want, you can go ahead and do that. And then I'll be making use of the whole length for now. So because for my clients, our shoulder to our wrist is going to be 23 inches, but I'll go ahead and mark out 24 inches and then rule it out on a straight line like so. So because I want all these places to be even, and I want to have pieces of the fabric that I'll be using for my casing and then the ruched effect. So that's why I just want to cut out some pieces from here like this. So I need it, that's why. So that I'll be able to use it for the ruched and the casing. So that's why I'm cutting out this. But if you feel like you have enough fabric for your own and you want the length to be as long, the sleeve length to be long, you don't need to cut it out. So now this is what I have on fold, and this is what I'll be making use of right now. So I'm cutting out this length because it was not straight. So I'm cutting out some pieces that were not straight right there. So now the next thing to do is to come to my shoulder line, and then on my shoulder line at that the extreme part, I'm just trying to set in the length. At that extreme part, I'll come down from my shoulder slant. You can use 1 inch, you can use 1.5 inches. And then for the neck width, I'll be making use of 4 inches. So by the time you open it, it's going to be 8, which is okay because this is going to be a straight cut neckline. It's not going to be having any depth. So that is how it's going to come out. Then for the sleeve opening, I'll come down by 8 inches because my client's front sleeve is 14. I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. And then right from there, I'll just come in by 2 inches and then curve it out and then take it all the way to the length of the top. So for now, this is basically what we're going to do, and I'll go ahead and cut that out. So grab your scissors and then cut it out like so. So you understand what I'm doing. So now at the shoulder part, I'll be slanting the shoulder. So go ahead and slant the shoulder like so. And this is what we have. So around that neckline area, you're going to be opening it up. Just open up the neckline. You know, it's going to be in folded form. So you just need to slit that open. And then you're going to be indicating where that neck width is. Just give it a bit of a notch so that you, when you are joining your shoulder, you're not going to be closing out the neckline. So I just gave that a notch. So now we have our front piece and then we have our back piece. So I'll be removing the back piece so that we'll concentrate on the front piece because that is majorly where the whole thing is going to be concentrated on. So I'm going to be opening up my fabric like this. So that's the neckline. So I'm going to be opening up the fabric like this. This is the wrong side of the fabric. And then I'll be getting my half length. But if you feel like your half length is too long, you can make use of your underbust measurement to place your belt. So because I later went up for my client's underbust measurement, I didn't use the waist measurement again because it was too low. So I would advise you use your underbust measurements. So by the time you tie the belt is going to be very very seated on your waistline. So now I'm trying to get the midpoint of the fabric. You can go ahead and iron out, but I didn't have light, so I didn't want to iron it. So I'm using my chalk to demarcate, to indicate the midpoint of the fabric like this before I'll go ahead and do the necessary things. So just use your chalk to indicate the midpoint like this. So this is an alternative way of getting the midpoint of your fabric. So as you can see the chalk is obvious, though it's yellow chalk, but you can see it, it's obvious. The line is visible from there. Let me just highlight it very well so that it will be more visible. So that's our midpoint. So right there now, I've already gotten my half length or on the bust, I beg your pardon. So go ahead and mark whatever yours is. So right there on that line, that is where I'll be imputing my waist measurement divided by 4. So like for example, if your waist measurement is 40 and then you divide that by 4, that should be giving you 10. So what you're going to be doing is that you're going to be marking 20 inches. That is, you place 10 in the middle and then you mark 10 on one side and 10 on this side. So that by the time you mark 10, 10 here, that will be 20. Then for the back, it's going to be 10, 10. That will give you 40. I beg your pardon. That will give you 20. So 20 plus 20, that will give you 40. Sorry for the mathematics. So I've gone ahead to indicate where the belt is going to be. So as you can see, 10 here, 10 there. That's where you'll be placing your belt. Now for the ruched effect, this depends on the side where you want your ruche to be. So I had to turn flip the fabric over for me to get the actual place where I want my ruche, where my client wants the ruche to be. So I discovered that it's going to be on the left hand side. So that is where I'm placing I'll be placing my markings on this side that you have here. So in order to get the distance of the ruche from the midpoint of the fabric, just come in by about your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, or alternatively you can make use of between 3 to 4.5 inches depending on the width of your fabric, that is depending on how wide your client is. But I would advise you make use of your nipple to nipple measurement if you want to get the accurate ruche that will run across and look beautiful. So for this one, I'll be making use of 3.5 inches because my client's nipple to nipple or bust band measurement is 7 inches. So that is what I'm marking all the way to the length of the gown, like so, from the middle point of that line that we initially drew. So this is what we have. So that's for the belt and then this for the ruched. So now I've gone ahead to sew my belt. You can see that I managed my fabric. So I'm going to ahead to turn it out in form of a belt and then I'll be attaching it on those lines that I marked earlier. So like that you divided your waist measurement by. So that's where you're going to be running the stitch. Run the stitch on top like this to form the belt holes. So let me just use my pins to hold that down before taking it to the sewing machine. If you have watched up to this level and you have not yet subscribed, please kindly hit on the subscribe button and do the needful and leave beautiful comments. Thank you. So now for the ruched effect, I'm going to have to fold my fabric that I'll be using. I have this fabric that is 2 inches wide. So on both sides, I'll iron half inch and then sew it down. And then the middle part, as you can see, I've ironed that out because later they brought light. So that middle part that I ironed is just to serve as a guide when I want to sew the middle so that I'll sew it down. But before doing this, please ensure that you folded the length of your fabric because before doing this. So if you can see that I've already used my bias to turn the length before doing this. So the next thing now is to create our belts that we'll be using to form our loops. So the casing now has two compartments. So you're going to be inserting these ropes in each compartment like this. So I've inserted one. I made use of my safety pin, and then I'll be inserting the other one as well. So we go ahead and insert it until it comes out on the other side of the fabric. So this is what we have. So the next thing to do is just take it to your sewing machine and then go and run a stitch on top of that part to put them in place so that it will not rip off or it will not remove. So just go ahead. I think this thing went in at a point, so I had to remove it and bring it back in. So I've gone ahead to do that and I go ahead and stitch it down like so. So after stitching it, this is what we have, and then you can ruche it like this. So you can see the way it came out. This is the right side. That was the wrong side because everything has to be done on the wrong side. So this is the ruched effect, and I want to cut out the threads that were poking out. So you can see that our top is almost ready, and this is very simple. It's very trendy and it's very unique. So now I'll bring the back piece and then place it on top of each other, right sides facing each other. I'm going to have to hem the length of the gown as well. I just used my bias because this fabric, if I say let me fold it by the fabric, it was just giving me a tough time. So I just had to use bias to that for that. So now place right sides facing each other. And then remember your neck width. Remember that we notched the neck width. So I'll be using pins to hold that in place so that you not go ahead and run your stitch to cover the neckline. So just use pin to hold that in place on both sides of the neckline like this. And then you take to your sewing machine now and then go and run a stitch after the pinned neckline down to the round sleeve. Just go ahead and run half an inch like this, and then you go ahead and run half an inch on this other side as well. You run half an inch as well, and then you fold your round sleeve by half inch, and then you close out the sides by 1 inch respectively. And then I'll come back to show you the next thing to do for the neckline. So I've gone ahead to do that, and this is what we have. So you can see the way it came out to be. It's looking very beautiful. I think I'm going to make one for myself. So I've not ironed it as at this point. That's what I was just trying to say. So for the neckline, you just go ahead and take the neckline like this and then fold half inch inside and then run it around and then you're good to go. So that was how we arrived at our beautiful gown, and I hope you enjoyed this beautiful tutorial. So if you enjoyed watching it, kindly subscribe, like, share, and kindly watch out for my next tutorial. And like I always say, this is Genius Signatures and I'm signing out. Bye.